film world, and welcome to another Chameleon media podcast.
No.
Yeah, we're about to get copyright strike for that. All right, guys, I'm your host, Will Santana. I'm here with the Lack.
Okay.
He's on crack, Jefferson. And we got a special guest host today. We got Bobby G in the building. Bobby G.
What's up?
Okay.
Hey. All right, y'all, we got some trailer talk. We're going to talk about some cord cutting. For those of you who don't know, that's what we're talking about, cable companies.
He
and
said
Lack,
cord, not coke. Cord.
And Lack, who you got an interview with, man?
I have Mr. Kyle Herbert.
And what does he know?
And I'm going to tell you, I screwed his name up the first time I did it. I said Herbert because it's spelled like Herbert. But he kindly corrected me, and I felt awful. But yeah, Mr. Kyle Herbert is his most notable character is Gohan off of Dragon Ball Z, the adult Gohan. He was also the worst villain ever on Bleach. He was Aizen. I loved him, but I hated him at the same time, so he did his job. But he also did some Dynasty Warriors characters like Sima Yi and Zhoutai from my gamers. He was also Ryu off of Street Fighter. You know, the Hadouken! Yeah, that was him screaming like he had no sense. Very, very great guy, very humble. Y'all are going to love this interview.
Did he do the voice of Ken also, or just Ryu?
No, just Ryu.
Is it Ryu or Ryu?
It's Ryu.
Or you?
It's Ryu.
Okay. All right, man. But let's get into it. Our first topic is Lack's No In-Between trailer talk.
Okay.
All right. So our first film, let's talk about Jumanji, The Next Level. Lack.
Loved it.
You loved it?
Yes.
God, you're never in between, man.
Yeah, man. It's it was actually really funny. I think Kevin Hart did a great job of trying to capture Danny Glover, you know, and I think The Rock did a great job of trying to capture Danny DeVito.
I know, man. That was hilarious. At first, though, when the trailer comes on, I'm a little nervous because they go back to the video game, which they did in the last movie, and it starts off typically they're in the jungle. But as the trailer kept going, I did like how you started seeing the glaciers, the ice, the bridge that reminded you of
yeah,
Indiana
with all
Jones.
of that baboons chasing them and stuff. So yeah, that looked great.
I'm glad you said baboon because I was gonna say Rafiki.
Oh my goodness.
Bobby G, man, what you think of that Jumanji?
I liked it. I might get some flack for this, but I have not seen the first one yet. It's been
Me neither. Don't feel bad.
All right. It's been really hard for me to grasp any movies that are after Robin Williams of late. I still haven't.
Get closer
seen.
to the mic.
Oh, my bad. And I haven't seen the Aladdin movie yet.
Me neither.
But I'm sure they're great, and I'm going to check out the first one. And the second one did look good.
I'm probably not.
You're not going to see it?
You should check out the first one though, Lack, man. It was
I
pretty
might.
good. Shut up, Lack. Stop being a jerk.
I'll check out the first one, and I'll check out the second one. Not sure if I will make it to the theaters, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, if you ain't have to pay $50 to go see a movie, that'd be great. You know?
Lack, will you see it at the theater?
Probably. That scene would, but that's the thing. I hope that the part with the baboons chasing, that isn't like the only super duper action part in there. I hate it when they put all of the scenes in the trailer and then
sell it to you, huh?
Right, and then in between the movie, you're kind of like, that's it.
Bobby G, you gonna go to the theater and see it?
Maybe. I'm kind of the same way with what he said. I think that they put too much in the previews nowadays, and it's really kind of hard. It's like I don't want everything to be spoiled into it, but it looks good, man, and Rock sells tickets, and Kevin Hart's hilarious.
It'll probably be a home video release for me. Even though I'm interested in it, it's just not movie theater quality for me. You know, y'all know I'm very picky with that.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next one. Knives Out. Daniel Craig, Chris Evans. I don't know where I was stuttering with that one. What do you think, Lack?
I liked it.
Jamie Lee Curtis. You liked it?
I liked it.
It didn't remind you of anything?
I didn't love it. I liked it.
It's one of those movies that it didn't grab me, but
yeah,
I have some interest.
I know for a fact I'm not going to go to the theaters to see that. It looks like it has potential to be funny. The suspense is what's getting me though. That's the only thing that's making me kind of want to go to the movie theaters. But trying to figure out who the killer is, that's one of my things. I like doing that because that's what I did during Us. I was loud in the movie trying to figure out. I'm telling you, it's that dude right there. So I don't know. I'm still kind of. I need to see some more trailers.
It reminded me of Clue. And it seemed like one of those movies where you're trying to, there's a twist to it, who's the killer is, or what
I bet
weapon.
your name Craig, but go ahead.
Bobby G, man, you any interest in it?
Yeah. I'm kind of into those whodunit type stuff. I'm into Agatha Christie mysteries. I'm weird like that. I like old stuff. And
a lot of people did like that. You're not weird.
Yeah.
If it made some money, that means you're not the only one.
Right. And it reminds me of that, but with, of course, a darker comedy sense to it and everything like that. So I don't know if I'll make it to the theaters for that one either.
I know a dude did it. It wasn't none of the females. Had to be a dude because when you
you'd
saw
be
the
surprised.
hands, those some man hands in there, bro. With the needle.
Well, Jamie Lee Curtis is in it, so.
Oh yeah, she got some clunkers on her.
All right, we haven't seen all the characters in the movie probably, but just from what we've seen, just take a wild guess. Who's the killer?
Daniel Craig, because he's hosting it.
Heck, I'm gonna give it to Jamie Lee Curtis since we're talking about man hands.
I'm going Jamie Lee Curtis because of Halloween. It's about time she does the killing.
Lame. I'm sorry.
All right.
I didn't like any of the newer Halloweens, man. All of them were lame, but that's a whole nother topic.
All right, let's go to the next trailer. Hobbs and Shaw.
Which one?
Well, they got so many, but just in general,
I like it.
Like
I'm going to see it. A lot of folks call themselves want to quote unquote be mad because The Rock left the whole Fast and the Furious thing, but that ain't stopping them. They're still coming out with a Fast and Furious 9. But Hobbs and Shaw, come on, man. I like it. They pretty much turned themselves into superheroes, bro. I'm talking about Rock pulling on helicopters and the other dude called himself the Black Superman, Idris Elba, and Jason Statham like Kung Fu Hustle on steroids. So like I'm seeing it. It's a whole bunch of that's like the closest thing to a high budget Expendables.
I'm interested in it, man. I liked all the action they had in it, the hype, how they blew it up in the trailer. The only thing is, I'm not a hardcore Fast and the Furious fan, so I don't know the timeline like that. Because I know some of the movies fit in between Tokyo Drift, right after Tokyo Drift. So it's like I get kind of confused on that.
I don't think this is gonna have like anything to do with the timeline. I think this is like something completely off because it's not featuring, from what I understand, any of the other cast from Fast and the Furious.
All right. I'm already sold just because of Idris, man. The dude does no wrong for some reason. I'm one of the people that's actually rooting for him to be the next James Bond, to be honest. I think it'd be
that's
amazing.
that's a whole other topic. I'm like,
I know
dude, it's just the book. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's right.
It's just the book.
The guy's got...
Close your eyes and imagine him being white. God.
Yeah. I mean, he's such a good actor, so I'm sold at him being the villain, and I always dig Statham and The Rock, and, I mean, you're not going in for an Oscar, you're going in for a thrill ride of action and a bunch of explosions.
Right.
This is 90% off topic, but have you ever seen the movie The First Kid with Sinbad?
Yeah.
You remember there's a scene where Sinbad takes the kid to the mall, and to distract everybody, Sinbad starts yelling, Denzel Washington.
Oh, yeah.
And then all the women start going crazy. Well, because he just mentioned Idris Elba, that's how my wife is. I could just say, Idris Elba, where? So that definitely had me thinking of that when he just mentioned Idris Elba. That's the reason why he's going to go see it.
Gotcha.
All right.
That man just slick called you gay, but all right.
No, I did not, Lack. All right, let's go on to the next topic, Lack. Let's talk about some cord cutting. For those of you who don't know what cord cutting is, that's basically people saying, it's like a figure of speech saying, we're not going to deal with cable company or satellite companies anymore. We're going to more streaming or, what's it called? What's it called when they...
Streaming.
Well, streaming, and what's it called with the Fire Stick? When you jailbreaking, more jailbreaking and all that kind of stuff.
Which we are not condoning. We don't jailbreak. That's not right. It's wrong.
He's got 20 different things jailbroken in here.
No, I don't.
So, Lack, man, what do you think of the state of cable companies and satellite dishes, man?
It's going down.
You think they're hanging on to their last limb?
The closest people, I think DirecTV is going to last more than all of them because they pretty much jumped ship and went straight to like streaming and stuff like that through AT&T and all that. I mean, you can still get the box and all of that stuff. They're not going to just throw away, all the old school folks. But this is one of the moments where you're just going to have to get with the times. And these cable companies are on their last leg, which is why they're offering things like cable, phone, internet, do your whole house through your iPad, turn your lights on and your lights off and the water and all this other stuff. Like, they're trying to add so much into that to try to stay afloat. But ain't nobody trying to pay all that money for that because, like, you can do everything through the internet now. You don't have to have a phone line when you got the internet. You see what I'm saying? So they might as well just go on jump ship and be like, hey, we can offer you streaming services. I mean, because, like, what was it, TiVo?
TiVo.
Mediacom,
they were the original DVR.
Yeah, Mediacom, you can get a TiVo box, which has Netflix and Hulu and all this other stuff.
I didn't even know they did
installed on there. Yeah, because I had Mediacom for a while, and I loved the freaking internet speeds, and it was always stable. But anyway, but what's the point of having that if the TVs themselves already have Netflix and Hulu built into them? Your PlayStation has it, your Xbox has it, your cell phone. Like, my TV that I have now, it has all that stuff on there, but let's just say I want to watch a film that I recorded on my phone. I can stream it through the TV without having another third-party device on there. So everybody loves wireless. We're probably all going to pop up with tumors somewhere because of all of these waves going around everywhere, but it's the future.
Yeah, I feel like cable companies are still locking people in with contracts, and that's what's scaring them away also.
Yeah.
Like they say the first year we'll give you all the things that Lack named and we'll clean your house for $50. But then once that first year's up, now your bill's $150 and you're stuck.
Right.
And I feel like that's a major problem that they're having, that they're suffering. DirecTV is getting smart though, or AT&T.
Yeah.
They got that DirecTV now.
Verizon even has their own.
Oh, see, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I just remembered. I went down to Tampa. Remember when I shot that? Went down to Tampa to shoot that video for Jamie. Verizon has their own cable company.
There's just so many options now with streaming. You have Sling, PlayStation View. You have YouTube TV. You got the free ones. Me and you were talking about earlier.
Yeah,
Pluto TV,
Sony Crackle.
Tubi TV, I think it's called.
Tubi TV, yeah.
There's just so many options. Then you got your Netflix, Hulu, you got all that stuff. And then the channels themselves now have apps like ESPN, ABC, CBS,
HBO, Showtime. I mean, that's how I watched that Wu-Tang documentary, boy. Wu-Tang! Okay.
Yeah, with cable, it's one of those weird things. The old schoolers are still holding on to it, and sometimes a lot of people hold on to it for the local channels. And
but they're offering local channels and stuff now, too.
Right. Well, you don't even have to. I have an antenna that I can get all that stuff for free.
See?
I went to Best Buy and I bought a $20 antenna and I plugged it up to my TV and I get 13 channels for free. So if I want local channel, and that even...
And they're in HD.
Right, and I get football during the season because
See?
CBS and Fox owns the rights to football. Now, baseball, on the other hand, is one of those harder ones. You got to either stream it through their MLB, or a lot of times you got to have cable. But I think,
or you can go to Buffalo Wild Wings.
Or you can go to Buffalo Wild Wings. But that is kind of what is keeping cable. I think is sports. I think sports is still one of the big things that keep people attached to cable. And then of course the old school people.
But yeah,
who
like
are
you
just
said
used to
though,
it.
they got the NBA League Pass.
Right,
and
they got all that.
NFL Sunday Ticket, and with all of those available, I'm like, man, F that. And then you got with Verizon, they have that free NFL streaming service. So like every NFL season, if you have Verizon, you can watch the NFL anywhere. That's right. You can watch it anywhere, and it doesn't even go against your data if you don't have an unlimited data plan.
And with the old school people, I mean, cable companies, careful. I mean, I just gave my parents my Netflix and Hulu account, and they've been watching it all about the past 2 weeks, and they're talking about cutting their cable. So, you know.
Do you guys think cable companies like are on the last leg like newspapers are? Newspapers about dead, man.
Yes and no. Only reason I say that yes is because they're going to have to start eliminating a lot of services because nobody's going to want them. No, because we have to have a source for internet. Mm-hmm. They do provide internet. If they want to stay on ship, then they may have to try to pull like a T-Mobile and say, well, if you sign up with us, you can get Netflix for free or Amazon Prime Video for free, or you can get all of this stuff for free, and it's going to be hard because like with me, I have T-Mobile, so I get Netflix for free. Well, I pay $3 to get the premium version, and they add it to my cell phone bill, so it's like not inconvenient at all. Mm-hmm. Sprint, I think, has Hulu. AT&T has DirecTV altogether. So like, the competition is just too great for them to not offer multiple platforms for free.
And they're oh, my bad, man. And they're taking it in a totally different direction too. Like how you were saying they were offering those things. Like I have Boost Mobile. They gave me what's Jay-Z music app called? Tidal. Yeah, they gave me Tidal for free for 6 months, man. You know, and I loved it. I took advantage of it.
I got Spotify Premium, and Spotify actually offers a student account. So if you're a college student, you can get Hulu, the Showtime Network, and Spotify Premium for I think it's like $3.99 a month.
Wow! For how long?
Huh? As long as you're in school.
Oh man.
Yeah, man. So, you know, I got Hulu and Showtime, and Spotify Premium. So I mean, yeah, cable companies gonna have to step up their game somehow, some way. But I don't know what's really, you know. I don't know what has them on life support right now. The only thing I can think of again is sports and being able to do certain aspects of live.
I mean,
events.
but if you look at stuff like Pluto TV, man, for them to have live TV, even though they're kind of like a bunch of bootleg channels, eventually that's going to pick up, and they're going to want to start putting They're going to get people are going to pay to put advertisements and stuff on there, meaning Fox might add their own little sports thing on there or something. You see what I'm saying? So, as I'm saying it, they might be having a contract coming up
in the
now.
works or something.
Yeah, like somebody's going to find some kind of way to be able to stream sports legally on an app.
Well, I mean, you can stream some of the sports now. Like I have ESPN, the ESPN Plus, and I could watch all the games on there that are ESPN affiliated. You know what I'm saying? Even the ABC ones I can watch on there. They have a different channel on there, ESPN3, and then I can watch all the UFC fights on there, all the boxing. So it's beneficial for me having that ESPN app. Now, the Fox Sports app, it needs a lot of work in my opinion because it's like you can watch some of the games live, but like replaying them, they don't have that option there for you where ESPN does. So, like, if you miss the game and you're staying away from social media or your phone where it doesn't give you the score, you can still get home and watch it and replay it. You know?
And one thing I'm realizing is it's saving companies a lot of money with streaming altogether because now they just have clouds and they have hard drives with, like, hundreds of terabytes of memory to upload their material on. So now you have, let's say, with the Disney streaming service.
Ooh, I can't wait for that, man.
You see what I'm saying? Like they're gonna have every Disney movie ever made, and it's gonna be in freaking HD. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, if they bring every Disney movie and Disney show from like back in the days, man.
And like they're just starting out, so I'm pretty sure they're going to keep adding. If, you know, I'm thinking with them being marketing geniuses that they are, they're going to keep adding little by little to entice more customers to join up. You know, because you already got like the super duper Disney fanboys are going to be like, oh my God, I got to get ready to watch Frozen. You know, and they're going to buy it regardless. But people like me, I'm like, that's not enough for me to want to spend that extra $7-8. You know, like me, I'm interested in seeing what was that one with Mickey Mouse? Was it Anastasia? Fantasia. You got Fantasia. Can you imagine seeing that in 4K? Like, you know, I was about to say something that might get me in trouble, so I'm not gonna say that. But can you imagine seeing that in 4K and you're like tripping? You get it?
and you kind of and you kind of already see some of the residual coming back from some of these other streaming websites taken away. Look at Netflix. Netflix now has dropped the Marvel stuff. Now, does that mean that Disney's going to pick up the Marvel stuff?
Oh, I already know what's happening with that. They're picking up a lot of the children's Marvel stuff, like the Marvel, the Avengers, and all of that stuff. The cartoons, but a lot of the movies are going to Hulu because Disney owns the majority share of Hulu.
Okay.
So it's the stuff that they took off that people were pissed off at, like
Yeah.
Luke Cage, The Punisher, The Defenders. All of that stuff is going to be on Hulu now.
Okay. And see, that makes sense too. And on another flip side, just recently, it just got dropped. You see how NBC is now going to pull The Office, which is probably the biggest hit on Netflix right now. Almost everybody talks about binge watching The Office.
Yeah.
And everybody is crying that it's going to be leaving Netflix. And it's actually, people are already predicting the threat that people are going to pull the plug from Netflix just because they won't have certain shows that they want on Netflix.
Yeah.
But the cable companies, or not cable companies, but major networks are seeing this now. And that's why they get in their own streaming websites to show their product.
Yeah, because they do have it to where, like, if you look, like, I can get specific things on my TV. So I can get things like NBC where I can stream different shows. I can stream all of these different shows that come on NBC or ABC or CBS or whatever, but it won't let me stream the primetime shows unless I have some kind of subscription or a cable company that I'm already with. So, like, the cable companies are trying to hang on to what they got, but I still don't think it's going to last long because them cable companies, I feel like, going to end up spending more money than they are making because ain't nobody finna keep paying these hundreds of dollars just to be able to advertise on a platform that nobody's watching.
The Simpsons will be on Disney Plus.
See?
The Simpsons, baby.
The whole freaking catalog?
All of them. They said every episode of The Simpsons will be on Disney Plus.
See? See?
Every
Who's gonna watch? Nobody's gonna. Fox is not even about to be a regular TV show, being a TV channel anymore.
Yeah.
Like, they're gonna make it to where you can stream Fox News whenever. They're gonna do pre-recorded everything now.
All right. So, when was the last time you had cable?
Ooh, it's been some years, bro.
You, Bobby G?
It's been quite a few years for me now. Like I said, once I got rid of cable, I at least just picked up an antenna just to stay with local stuff, and I've been content ever since.
And on the piggyback off of that, I mean, even the local stuff, they're on social media. Mm-hmm. Who doesn't have some kind of social media? Mm-hmm. So let's say, like, here in Columbus, you got WTVM, WRBL. You can find out everything that's going on just by either going to their website or just wait for them to post something on social media. Everybody gonna be talking about it. So
I don't know how the Ledger Inquirer is still surviving, man. They got it.
They're on the internet. They have a website.
Yeah, they got sponsors on there.
Yeah, and they got some reporters that couldn't care less. Like, they asked the questions everybody else scared to ask. So to me, that's the only way they're surviving.
All right, well, Lack, man, let's take us into your interview, man.
Gotcha. Let me introduce again Mr. Kyle Herbert, Mr. Hadouken and Kamehameha himself. All right.
Hadouken.
Right now, I have on the line Mr. Kyle Herbert, a phenomenal voice actor. From my eyes, I think the two most recognizable people will be the adult Gohan and Ryu from Street Fighter. But he also has a few other people that he's did voices for. If you're a fan of Dynasty Warriors, he's done Sima Yi and Zhou Tai. He is also done on the Seven Deadly Sins. The big guy with the axe who turns into a bartender at night. I'm horrible with names. You got to forgive me.
That's
Uh,
Escanor.
um, I mean, like right now, I'm kind of starstruck. You got to forgive me.
Oh
um,
no, I just have a cool job, man. That's
so,
just a
what has gotten you into voice acting altogether?
well. First, let me back up and say, just to put it out there on the record, my last name is actually pronounced Hebert, Hebert,
Oh
not
my
Herbert.
God, I am so sorry.
That's all right. That's
I'm
okay. That
awful with
is.
names. Like I'm sitting here looking at my autograph picture I got from you and everything, and I did not know that. I am so sorry.
Oh, you don't have to apologize, man. It's a totally understandable mistake. See, I got a Louisiana French name, so it's like common there, but outside of Louisiana, unless you happen to know someone with that last name, then there's no way you would know otherwise.
Oh,
So I usually just tell people that the one way to remember it is like, oh, a bear is attacking me. A bear is in the woods. Oh no.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I've been a lifelong fan of voice acting ever since watching like Looney Tunes as a kid, and when you find out that Mel Blanc voiced all those characters, and it's like, man, that sounds like the coolest thing ever. I want to do that when I grow up. And I wanted to be a DJ on the radio too, so I ended up going to college, University of North Texas, outside of Dallas, and getting a radio, TV, film degree, and worked in radio for many years. And heard about audition opportunity with Funimation for Dragon Ball Z back in 2000. So I went in, read for Gohan and some other roles. I don't even remember who I read for, but they called back within 2 weeks, and they had me come in and do some bit part things. And I guess once I showed that I could do the lip sync thing and voice act and take direction and all that stuff, they said, "Congrats, you're our Gohan." It's like, sweet. So
Amazing.
yeah, it was awesome because I actually started out as a fan of DBZ in the mid '90s. They started airing the first two story arcs over and over again, um, and those were in English, but they were produced in Canada. And so in 1999, Funimation set up camp in Texas, and that's where the rest of the seasons came out for North America. Well, for the states as far as they're concerned. And then it gets a little confusing nowadays because both dubs exist from start to finish. The
Mm.
Canadian English version and Funimation's version, and they both broadcast on TV in multiple countries, and they're available on video in multiple countries. So I guess you have to look at the logo and read the fine print as far as and stay for the credits as far as which version you're watching. But yeah, it's been a wild ride. That has opened up so many wonderful opportunities for me to not only continue voicing characters in anime, but also in video games, and trying to get a foot in the door for cartoons as well.
So, do you have any particular characters that you favor over others?
Sure. Golly. Well, a favorite of mine, obviously, it goes back to Gohan because I have a career because of that. I've gotten to travel the world and go to conventions and meet fans, and it's presented new opportunities. I've been able to network with other studios, other directors, other actors, and forge working relationships with them. And it's led to all sorts of things. Ryu and Street Fighter, that led to having a cameo in Wreck It Ralph. Actually, both of them. So that was pretty awesome. Um, Golly, Kamina, I hear the most positive, life affecting stories about that character in that show, Gurren Lagann, and that's like over 10 years old now, and it's impacted so many people when they're depressed or they're just trying to get through a rough patch in life, whatever it is. And they've so many have come to me with their personal stories, and
Hmm.
they say this has really impacted me. So that's like the real icing on the cake. You want to do something because you're passionate and you love doing it and makes you happy, and that's the be all end all, is to get paid doing what you love, right? But
Right.
on top of being able to pay the bills and do something that you have fun with, affecting change. Entertainment is a form of therapy for people, and it is very humbling and gratifying to have a positive impact on people that way.
Yes, I remember when I met you and I found out that you did my favorite video game is Dynasty Warriors. And when I saw that you did the voices for Sima Yi, and then you later on told me you did Zhou Tai as well, I lost it because Zhou Tai is my favorite. Anybody who knows me knows I have to play with Zhou Tai because I got to slice you a million times before I stop you. But to move on to one of my favorite villains of all time is Aizen.
hmm Yeah,
How
Eisen. Yeah, good
did it
old Bleach.
feel to voice a guy who just sounded so calm, was yet so evil?
Right? The inspiration for my voice on that actually comes from a sci-fi movie called 2001: A Space Odyssey. There's a computer, a sentient computer on there called Hal, the Hal 9000, and he sounds very friendly, but he does what he wants, and if he's going to unplug the life support on hibernating astronauts, then he will do that and kill them without the you know any hesitation and all that. So I immediately thought of that. I don't know why, but when I was reading the audition sides for Eisen, it said he's mysterious, he's very friendly, but you're not quite sure if there's a hidden motive or not. And I kind of brought that to the audition, and that's what they went with. And I hear that same sort of performance in the Japanese as well. So yeah, that was great to get to play a villain. First of all, second of all, it is very easy to do because he's so calm all the time. It's like he's very chill and not a lot of screaming. I wish he had a little more screen time. They would allude to him or show to him sitting on his throne every now and then, just to say,
Mm.
"Hey, remember this guy? He's still in the background. He's still a threat." But yeah, he's it's a pretty awesome character arc to play with discovering that he's not all he seems to be.
So, are there any other characters that were harder than others to portray?
I don't think about individual characters so much as the physical aspect of just having to scream for long amounts of time.
Hmm.
You tend to have 2 hours of time booked at sessions, anywhere between 2 and 4. And if they need you for more than that, they'll break it up over multiple sessions. But if you're cast in, say, a video game where you're a soldier and all you do is scream, then you're going to blow your voice out pretty fast. So you got to have some hot tea and throat sprays and uh, Chinese cough syrup, lozenges, all sorts of things at your disposal right there in the session to make sure you don't totally lose your voice. But that can be grueling. If you injure or permanently damage, that's your moneymaker. So
Right,
you want to
because
make
I
no.
heard that at one point Mark Hamill had to have surgery on his throat because of the Joker.
Oh wow.
And it made me wonder if that had that amount of strain on his voice. I can only imagine what other voice actors have to go through, seeing that you do a lot of screaming, and sometimes you have to really, really alter your voice and make high pitched sounds, low sounds, and with your voice being all over the place. Like, how do you preserve it on like your off days? Like, because I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people out there who want to get into voice acting, but they don't know what to do, how to do it, how to approach it, and that's part of the reason behind this podcast. We try to get as much information out there as possible. So if you have like any tips or anything that you would like to put out there, like this would be the perfect time.
Okay. Well, sure. I mean, I think the first thing is having a really grounded idea of what voice acting is really about. And it's not doing the voices and being silly and cartoony sort of things. They have the go-to people for that are established. But what you need to think of is voice acting is an acting. It is just a type of acting, just like on camera or the theater or anything. It's just another form that strips away all the physicality, and you're not on camera. So, that's freeing. You're not limited by your looks. but you do have to bring your A game in terms of acting training and experience and or raw talent and trying to strike that balance. Um, deciding, by taking acting classes and training, if this is, if you have a thick skin and this seems fun and seems, but keeping realistic and understanding that, it's all an uphill battle because, you got to train in any career aspiration and it doesn't happen fast, cheap, or overnight. The classes and buying the equipment, having a home recording setup, all this stuff takes money. So, you got to come up kind of with a long-term plan. Start saving money to take your classes or save money to move where the work is. There's not a lot of opportunity in small towns, and if you want to work on anime dubs, there's only a handful of cities doing it. Namely Dallas and Los Angeles, a little bit with Pokemon up in New York and Sentai in Houston. Uh, Otherwise, I say keep your eye on the West Coast just because that's the most abundant amount of opportunities for voiceover. The most lucrative kind of voice acting there is in commercials. It's not as fun as cartoons and anime and games, but there's more money to be had. There's things called residuals, and it airs on big networks and whatnot. You get a little piece of the pie. Like me getting involved, just having a cameo in Wreck-It Ralph, I get residuals from that. So every time it streams or someone buys a Blu-ray, I get pennies on the dollar, but still,
Yeah,
that
something
adds
is
up.
better than nothing.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and yeah, you just got to get used to being told no, um, in the form of once you're able to get out there and network with enough studios to be on audition lists, you're going to audition a lot more than you're actually going to work, and it's not a sign of you're bad or you're terrible. Get a day job. It's none of that. Um, by taking the acting classes, training with vocal coaches and acting people, they're going to be able to help steer you in the right direction. They're going to help you work on what you do best because you may have a voice or a type of vocal delivery that you can excel at, and maybe others you're not so great at. And
Right.
so, if there's something that comes naturally, I think, teachers and everything are going to help you to work on that because you have to have your calling card, something that you bring to the table that, the casting people out there, they want to be blown away when they hear a demo or hear your audition. They're going to hear something that really stands out. Um, but yeah, that first thing is getting the acting training, the foundation, then work on a demo. And then after that, you circulate that demo, send that MP3 out to every casting agent and person preferably you're networking with other actors and other people because somebody knows somebody who has the power to cast. And you get your demo walked in somewhere, you might see a little faster turnaround on things, whereas, submitting cold, it's kind of a crapshoot. You don't know if the studio is ever going to listen to it or if they're going to get back to you. But if you've worked, you have earned this opportunity, and you've trained, you've networked, you've met other people in the industry, and you're working every angle. You're juggling everything at once. That
In
might
other
turn into a
words, you
nice
can't sit on your
opportunity.
butt and get somewhere.
Yeah. If someone's willing to vouch for you, someone that is a little bit further in their career than you, and they're willing to say, "Hey, man, let me listen to this demo," and it's like, yeah, I think it's ready for me to go ahead and refer you to someone. And if not, don't take it personally. It's like, no, I don't think you're ready yet. I think you need some more classes or whatnot. To never take it personal. This is a business. It's competitive. You got to bring your A game, and you either are or you aren't what people are looking for. They'll know it when they hear it.
Hmm.
And the people, the clients, the studios, producers, everybody, the directors, they all have something in mind. And when they hear it, they come across it. Hopefully, it's yours. Chances are, though, it's not going to be yours. But If they listen to your audition and like what you have, even though they may think, okay, you're not right for this role, but I like what you did, I'm going to keep you on my audition list. Suddenly, you've ratcheted up the ladder. You're one step ahead of thousands of other people, because not only did you get heard, you're going to get to audition for future projects, and that opportunity is worth more than landing the gig, kind of, in a big picture sort of way.
Hmm. Man, I
So
hope you guys are really, really listening to this. He is dropping gems.
and
um,
this yeah, it takes 10 years to become an overnight sensation. There are cliches for a reason. I struggled. I moved to LA from Dallas in 2005, and for about 10 years it feels like I was just going nowhere. I'm just peeing in the wind, man. But
mm,
I stuck to my guns. I said, I moved out here. This is what I want to do with my life. I'm going to train. I'm going to network. I'm going to get my demo in the hands of all the right people, and just stick with it. If it's meant to happen, it'll happen. And if it's not, then maybe something better's around the corner.
and then keeping that positive attitude, I see is very, very, very important. Um, and I definitely want to say congratulations on all of your success.
Thank you.
When I looked at your Wikipedia and I saw the amount of animes you were on, I said, "Oh my God," you know. So it's like now I actually just try and listen to see if I can find that signature sound of yours, like the guy from the Dura Rise of the Yokai Clan. I don't think I'm saying it right, but the guy who kind of looks like Akuma, you know.
Yeah, he does. He does.
And I was like, I wonder if he picked him on purpose because he kind of favors Akuma, you know.
No, the studio Bang Zoom, who I do a lot of dubs through. I was on their audition list, and they sent me some characters to read for. That was one of them, I think. And actually, First World Problem. I've done so many shows and projects that I don't remember how all of them happened, because another first world problem. I work with them so often that I'll get cast just because they know that I can do it. Maybe it's not the biggest role.
Mhm.
Usually it's like a smaller episodic role or something, but they say, we'll just get Kyle." They have their go-tos. That's something that you want to be, another point that you want in your another feather in your cap, is just saying, okay, this is my signature sound, fill in the blank. And this is what the studio is going to call on me for when they need that, fill in the blank.
Mm.
So yeah, that may have been, this is not me choosing that character per se, because the studio has the demos on file. They'll listen, and the casting directors will go through the scripts and the audition scripts, and decide who should read for what. And so they don't send, blanket every character to every actor. There's just not
Mhm.
enough hours of the day to listen to all those, but try and, whittle down the list, because clients do want to, they have tight production deadlines, and things got to get started pretty quick. So,
So
yeah.
do they like when it's time to audition for the character? Do they actually show you what the character looks like, or do they just describe how they want you to sound?
It's a little of both. Usually an audition side is just little excerpts of scripts from different scenes that show a range of emotion, and there's a little bio there, maybe a paragraph about how that character fits into the context of the show, and maybe there may be a reference to say, we listen to this YouTube link, we want him kind of like this actor, or they'll just say he's young, in or he's a grizzled war veteran, or whatever. They may use buzzwords to help you dial in a performance. And nowadays, with technology as it is and convenience, a lot of people, voice actors are expected nowadays to be able to record remotely, i.e., in at home,
Right.
or even when they travel. I take a portable mic with me and record auditions in the hotel when I'm at a convention during the weekend. It happens whenever you least expect it. You gotta be ready. And sometimes there's tight turnarounds. It's like, we need this ASAP, or we need it by tomorrow at 9 a.m., or or whatnot. And the sooner you get it into them, maybe they'll get listened to quicker, and maybe that'll increase your chances. Who knows?
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for everything that you have provided on this show. Uh,
Sure.
we always have two things that we ask, uh, and what we ask of you is to provide two of your favorite movies that you recommend to everybody. One from the past and one in the present.
Mm, just any movie?
Any movie.
Oh, wow. Okay. If I go into my past, golly, well, I'm 50, so that's a wide selection there. I don't know how far back I'm allowed to go.
Oh,
I
as far back as you want. I mean, we've had people say Seven Samurai and old Alfred Hitchcock movies, things of that nature.
Sure, sure. Well, I mentioned that Eisen was inspired by 2001: A Space Odyssey. That is one of my all-time favorite movies by one of all my all-time favorite directors, Stanley Kubrick, who also did The Shining, Full Metal Jacket, Clockwork Orange.
Yes.
But 2001: A Space Odyssey it's a very slow burn. So if you have a short attention span, you probably won't like it. But the aesthetic of holding on a shot and just soaking in all the detail and the exquisite use of classical music, it's really really something. I mean, there is dialogue. It's just more of a visual experience sort of thing. It's
That's
definitely not
when
an
you
action
have to
movie.
appreciate the art behind it.
Oh, totally, totally. As for something current, I'm a big horror fan, and I think my favorite of the recent horror films has been Hereditary. That came out last year,
Hmm.
and I'm looking forward to one called Midsummer that comes out this week along with Spider-Man. Of course, I'm looking forward to all the big Marvel movies, but horror ones too. Ari Aster is a director that I'm keeping on my radar because Hereditary is truly another slow burn that really gets under your skin. Is super super creepy. If horror is your bag, then I recommend that. It's not so much about gore and jump scares. It's more about the sense of dread.
Mm.
you know.
It's one of those where the suspense will kill you if you don't figure out what's going on.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's a very creepy undercurrent that's going through that. And Midsummer looks to be a completely different but equally creepy sort of adventure that's going to launch this summer too. So yeah.
Wow. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you. It was definitely a pleasure. Um, and of course, if you have anything you ever just wanted to get off your chest or to throw out there, just let us know. And we were like, hey, say it on our show, you know.
well,
But yeah,
I,
I
I
really appreciate you, sir.
oh hey man, thank you, and thanks to all your listeners, thanks to all the fans for playing the games, watching the shows, and supporting me. I mean, I'm very very blessed to do what I do, and it means even more if the people enjoy it too. I'm going to keep on doing what I'm doing. I'll do it till I can't do it anymore because this is what I feel I'm meant to do, and I'm having a blast with it. So thank everyone out there.
Yeah, it sounds like you're having a blast with it. That's why I was like, oh, I've got to get this guy on the interview. So,
well,
um,
cool. I'm glad you did. Thank you very much.
and I'm so glad you accepted. Because we're kind of new at this, so when we do reach out to people, a lot of people don't respond. But we're trying to take those necessary steps to network and get out there as well. So you you are pretty much a huge blessing for us.
Well, that's great. I wish you and your whole team there the best of luck in getting that podcast some more hits, some more clicks, some more subscriptions, and spread the love of pop culture.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Oh, and do you have any cons you're getting ready to go to pretty soon?
Yeah, actually, coming up on the 4th of July is Anime Expo in Los Angeles. It's that whole weekend, but I'm only going to be there on the 4th of July. I'll be part of a Capcom Street Fighter panel. And
Okay.
me and some of the other actors will be present there for that, and then doing an autograph signing afterwards. So check the website and the program guide for all the details, and looking forward to that. Otherwise, later this summer, I'll be going to Tampa Comic Con, Tampa Bay Comic Con, and Indiana Comic Con. And if anyone else is interested in having me as a guest at a convention, you just let them know, guys, gals. Go on convention social media. If you don't know what your local con is, go to animecons.com or fancons.com, and they will list everything with links to every website, to every convention on the planet. And you let them know who you want to see as a guest.
Yeah, because I would really like to see you at Dragon Con this year.
Oh, cool. Yeah, yeah. I got an invite for that, but I had to turn it down. I was already booked for, I think it's Tampa or Indiana, one of those. They're owned by the same group, but yeah, I had to say no. I've actually been a couple times to Dragon Con before, and I definitely want to go. It's a ton of fun. That's one of those essential cons. I've been, and I hope to return in the future.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm definitely not going to take up too much more of your time. Once again, I definitely appreciate you for coming onto the Chameleon Media podcast. We just wish you the best in your career, and we would definitely continue to support you.
Thank you. Thank you. Right back at you, man. Thanks.
All right. You have a good evening, sir.
You too.
All righty. Bye bye.
All right. Bye.
Welcome back, guys. We just had that interview. Lack, man, what did you get from it, man?
That was a ton of information. If you are looking to get into voice acting, just acting in general, like you see, this guy had to pretty much move from his town and move out to LA so he can pretty much pull a Master P and start throwing tapes up under the doors and doing all these demos, and and it's like he pretty much said the same thing that I said to a lot of independent artists that are in the music business. You cannot come into this game broke. You can't be broke. Don't be afraid to get a regular 9 to 5 to save up your bread to do what you have to do, because you're only going to be as good as your equipment and the people you have helping you and all of that other stuff, because, he mentioned being able to get equipment to record yourself. And then, along with recording, you're going to have to be able to mix, get background noises out. Or if you don't know how to do all of that stuff, you're going to have to pay somebody to do it for you. You're going to have to learn how to take care of your voice. You're going to have to get acting classes, because you're pretty much acting without being in front of the camera. So, like, he went through all of the hell and high water it took in order to be able to get to where he is now.
So are you calling him the ice cream man?
No.
All right, well, let's get into our last topic, man, for the day. Let's talk about some B-rated movies that you really enjoy, or let's just say they're really good, or they have just a huge cult following. Now, we're not going to be able to name them all, guys, so don't be disappointed if we don't name that specific one. You're like, ooh. Okay, we just can't do it. We don't have that kind of time, and there's just way too many movies. I guess I'm going to start off. Bobby brought one up when he came in, and I forgot about it. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Have you ever seen that one, Lack?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, this is 80 schlock at its finest. I mean, who doesn't love clowns that kill people by wrapping them up in cotton candy and then sucking the life out of them and using them as food?
I think I got one.
Go for it.
The Toxic Avenger.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Toxic.
Man, the Toxic Avenger was awful, man.
Oh, yeah. Those movies were, oh, man, all those movies for trauma are just...
An excuse to throw boobs in there.
Yeah. Class of Nuke 'em High, and right now I can't name so many of them. The many plethora of sequels to the Toxic Avengers.
I wish you guys could see their faces, because when Lack said Toxic Avengers and how awful it was, but he had the biggest Kool-Aid smile, and Bobby G was over here co-signing that smile.
It's one of those things, man. Like, they're god awful movies, but you know they sometimes put a smile on your face. Is the movie so awful that it puts a smile on your face? Is it so awful that you just cringe at it? There's different levels of how awful it is, but
Yeah, like
Toxic
Sharknado.
Avenger, huh?
Like the Sharknado.
Yeah, right. They put
And
a
it-
smile on people's
I
faces.
mean, but the thing was, they knew it was awful, so they had to play on the fact that it was awful. So now they actually put a budget into making it look worse. So I mean, why? I mean, it was god awful.
Like you said, you've never seen Plan 9 from Outer Space.
No.
To me, that is like the holy grail of B-rated movies. You gotta watch it, man.
Okay.
But before you watch it, you gotta watch Tim Burton's Ed Wood movie to get a better understanding of what the hell is going on. Because I really feel if you just watch it, you're gonna fall asleep.
Oh wow.
You really are, because you're not gonna really get the jokes and you're not gonna get what's going on. But if you watch Tim Burton movie and you see like what's going on behind the scenes of Ed Wood's mind, you're gonna want to watch it after that.
Oh man. What about? Do y'all consider that movie? What was it? The one that had the "Feed Me, Seymour."
No, Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah, you think that's a B rate? B, you know.
Little Shop of Horrors, I can see it as one, but it's going back to what we talked about earlier. I think that Little Shop of Horrors, along with pictures such as Rocky Horror Picture Show, have become cult classics, and
Yeah.
a lot of the reasons they become cult classics and have stuck, even though they might be slightly B movies, is the music. Because
Yeah.
the music is what really makes it the cult following. Because people love musicals sometimes, and these are not your typical like Annie Oakley, Oklahoma musicals. These are ones that are fun. They're shtick almost, and
Yeah.
and they make the viewing of the movie even more entertaining.
Now, I don't care what nobody say. This was a low budget movie, but it was like it's one of my favorite freaking movies. The Last Dragon. That movie was low. You could tell it was low budget. You could tell it was low budget.
I'll give you that, but what I think the music also on that one,
Yeah,
you know,
man.
and then like
Kiss my Converse.
but it really blew the careers up of a few people. What's his name? The little kid Johnny. He was
Yeah.
He was in Surf Ninjas.
He did it.
What's his real name? What's his name? I can't remember. Oh man.
Although, but okay, here's a little fun fact. The guy who played Show Enough, you know, he actually played in a movie with Bruce Lee
No, I did not
and
know
got
that.
beat up. It was on Return of the Dragon, the same movie that had Chuck Norris in it at the end.
Oh wow, really?
When all the guys tried to come to the restaurant and raid the restaurant, and they went in the back to fight Bruce Lee, he's the really tall, skinny guy who just walks up and you know, as soon as he gets in there, and then he comes back and Show Enough.
What about Rad? Like you said, you haven't seen Rad,
Nah.
right? I always felt Rad was a B-rated movie. Bobby G, you said you seen this one.
I have the logo tattooed on my arm, actually. I have the tattoo of Rad, the logo of Rad tattooed on my arm. I grew up loving this movie. Is it B-rated? Is that what you're asking?
I consider it B-rated because at the time, what's her name? Aunt Becky from Full House is in it, but she was a nobody at that time, you know. And there's no name actors. Well, they are names now, but when at that time they were all nobody. I think it was filmed in like Canada or something, and, you know, like BMX was coming out, and it was like they didn't have people weren't.
You make it like Canada's a bad place to live.
Well,
or
it's my
something.
friend Aki Orange. You know Orange from
Oh,
PlayStation, so I
yeah.
gotta clown him. But I feel like at that time,
Drake, don't be mad at us.
people wasn't supporting BMX bikes, surfboards, skateboard. You know, Gleaming the Cube came out and all that.
Yeah.
You know, but I personally go ahead.
But I gotta say, a lot of those movies came out after Rad. Rad kind of started something. In fact, I believe Thrashing came after Rad, which actually has oh my gosh, I can't believe I can't think of his name right now. Thanos. The actor Josh Brolin. Thank you very much. Josh Brolin is in Thrashing. It's an 80s movie. It's about skateboarding. So if you ain't never seen it, it's a good movie too. And then Gleaming the Cube came after that. So Rad was a little bit before its time. And I think what was cool about that movie is that it brought out that big phase of BMXing and skateboarding that was really big in the 80s and kind of shone a light on it.
You remember that movie Breaking?
Oh Breaking. Hold on. Before you get into it, because you over there giggling. Breaking 1 is like, to me, is like Howard the Duck. It has not aged well. Breaking 2, on the other hand, is still a good movie. But Breaking 1 was terrible,
Part
man.
1. Do you remember when Jean-Claude Van Damme came out with them tights?
Ice-T. Don't forget Ice-T had some tights too now.
Yeah, man. Oh, they look like some freaking ballerinas, man. And I didn't mean that in a good way.
All right, before we wrap this the B-rated films up, man, how often do you just look for them, or do you wait for it to have a buzz, or do you just?
Nah, because Netflix got plenty of B-rated movies on there.
Amazon Prime does too, man.
And I'm like, hey, some of them are straight. I give them a chance because I'll read what the story is about. That's a lot, that's some things people don't like to do nowadays is read. I will read and see what the story is actually about, and then when I recommend it, people are like, "Oh man, that movie look cheap, but it's about this, that, and the other." Remember the movie I was just telling you about, such and such? Yeah. Oh well, if you would have read it, so people read, read a freaking book. But anyway, I don't. If I just so happen to stroll by it and the name is interesting, I will read the plot. Or if I just don't have anything to watch whatsoever, I read what it's about on all of them, because sometimes the trailers they put together for them
and
are
they need
awful.
our support sometimes, man.
Yeah,
they're looking for that support. Bobby G, how often you look for them, man?
Honestly, I don't even look for them too much like I used to anymore. Back in the day, during my party days when I was partying, and the stuff would be hilarious when you drunk with your boys.
Yeah.
And y'all sitting on the couch and y'all just like having a blast watching them. So I really don't look for them as much as I used to anymore. But if I did look towards finding some, I usually kind of go back and stick with the classics. The 70s and 80s had some really good. 60s, 70s, and 80s had some really good B movies, especially in the horror realm.
Oh,
Man,
yeah.
the horror movies back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s were just...
Or some of them kung fu flicks with
yeah.
what's his name? Jim Kelly.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, man. Most definitely, man. Like, something about the classic movie... Now they're classic movies. 60s, 70s, and 80s movies are... If I had to go look, I'd just go and revisit them. It's really hard for me to sit down and find anything of modern age of B movies that could capture what I was having fun with when I was younger.
All right, guys, we're going to get ready to wrap this episode up of the Chameleon Media Podcast. But before we go, Bobby G, we always have everybody refer 2 movies, one from the past and one current one. So you got to do that for us, man. Give us one from the past and one currently.
Rad.
You know what? That is a good one. Go see Rad. If you ain't ever watched Rad, Rad is a good movie. Let's see, anything modern that I've seen lately? I've been watching so many documentaries late. Sorry, guys.
Man, especially have you seen that? Are you into music?
Yeah.
Have you seen a documentary about Quincy Jones?
No,
on Netflix?
I haven't.
It's just called Quincy. Man, you're gonna love that.
Yeah, I love documentaries. I did. Now going back to that, I did watch a really good one. There is a documentary on Netflix about Robert Johnson.
Yes, I saw it.
That was a really good one. So I would say recommend that, and Highwayman. I thought that was a really good movie about that Netflix put out about the 2 Texas Rangers that went hunting at the Bonnie and Clyde. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, okay.
All right, Bobby G, he's giving his referrals out there. Like, you gonna check any of them out? Rad, you gotta check out Rad, like.
I might.
I hate this guy. I have a terrible co-host. I really hate him.
I do want to go see the one with the Bonnie and Clyde, people that's going to go.
You got to see
it.
Ed Wood, man. I hate you. See, what you talking about? People don't want to read. I don't want to see this. Look at you.
Y'all told me how awful it is.
No. I'm talking about the Tim Burton movie.
You said that one's awful.
No, that movie's great.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that movie's great. It's like a biopic movie. You know what I'm saying? It's telling you about Ed Wood, but his movies are terrible. But they're terrible. But why do I like them so much, man?
They're good. There's
That's
another
that generation's Sharknado.
Right. Also, I gotta say too, we talk about B-rated movies, and I'm sorry I didn't say this director. Anything that John Waters put out is what you need to watch if you want to watch a B-rated movie, especially Desperate Measures or Desperate Living. Desperate Living. God.
All right, guys. We gotta wrap this up. But before I leave, I gotta say one last thing. Like,
Captain Marvel sucks.
You mention that every episode. Like,
Because it's awful. And everybody that ran across said they didn't like it.
Let it go. Let it go.
I'm trying.
All right, but for you TurboGrafx 16 fans, there's a B-rated movie from an old video game called It Came from the Desert. It's on Amazon Prime. You can stream it for free if you have Amazon Prime. It's called It Came from the Desert, and it is based on the video game. It's really cool for you old school TurboGrafx 16 fans. All right, but guys, we got to wrap it up. Lack, man, I appreciate the interview. Bobby G, I appreciate you being a guest on here with us.
Wrap it up so it won't turn green.
I hate you. I need a new co-host. All right, guys, but thank you for listening to the Chameleon Media Podcast. Check us out on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify. We're on everything.
Hey, I'm gonna start a new challenge.
What's the challenge?
It's gonna be the KC challenge.
Oh Lord, here you go. I don't even want to know what it is yet.
You know how KC and JoJo be singing, and KC sound like he's just gonna die.
Oh my God!
You just find a random song and I don't know. You know, gotta do one of them. Yeah, but
I hate Lack. All right, guys, but thank you. We are outro. Don't forget to rewind those VHS tapes.
It's getting away from me.